Is that a new Mercedes? I stood frozen in my driveway, staring at my sister Laura as she stepped gracefully out of a shiny black SUV that probably cost more than I made in an entire year. Just last week, she'd told me she was still too strapped financially to even begin paying back the money she owed me. Oh, this... Laura ran her hand proudly along the flawless hood. Picked it up yesterday. Got an unbelievable lease deal. You wouldn't believe the features. My name is Rachel Sullivan, and at 32 years old, I was watching my sister flaunt a luxury car while the $45,000 she'd borrowed from me a year earlier remained unpaid. Money that came from my house down payment fund. Money I had built up carefully through years of budgeting and endless overtime at my graphic design job. I thought you were in financial trouble, I said, forcing my voice to stay calm. That's why you borrowed from me. Remember? To avoid bankruptcy. Laura waved her hand, brushing off my words like they were irrelevant. I still am. This is different. It's only a lease. Besides, I needed something reliable for work. My mind flashed back to the night she'd arrived on my doorstep in tears, mascara streaking her face, sobbing about credit card debt, about losing her home, about needing help just this once. I had written the check that very same day, draining most of my savings, because that's what sisters do. They help each other. Your old car was 3 years old, I reminded her, and you promised to start paying me back after 6 months. Don't be so uptight, Rachel, you're fine. You've always been good with money. It's not like you really need it right now. She glanced at her phone, checking her reflection in the screen. Oh, did I mention I'm planning a trip to Europe this summer? You should come, though. It might be a little pricey for you. I stood there, speechless. The casual way she dismissed my loan, the insinuation that being financially responsible somehow meant I didn't deserve repayment. It all hit me like a slap. And then, as if to top it off, the audacity of inviting me on an expensive vacation while owing me thousands. Actually, I do need that money, I said firmly. It was supposed to go toward a house down payment, Laura smirked. Maybe that's a sign you should keep renting. Owning property is so much responsibility. She glanced at her watch. Anyway, I can't stay. I've got a spa appointment. We'll do lunch soon. As I watched her drive away in her brand new Mercedes, something inside me snapped. A year of excuses, broken promises, and dismissals crystallized into one sharp realization: my sister wasn't just irresponsible with money, she was exploiting me. And I had allowed it. This wasn't a new pattern. Growing up, Laura had always been the charming one, able to sweet-talk her way into or out of anything. When she maxed out her first credit card at 19, our parents paid it off. When she dropped out of college after 3 expensive semesters, they called it finding her path. Every disaster she created was met with sympathy, support, and usually a check. I had taken the opposite road. I worked my way through school, clawed my way up in my graphic design career through unpaid internships, late nights, and steady progress. I saved carefully, built stability, and made sacrifices. My parents called me the responsible one, but the way they said it always carried a tone as if responsibility was dull, as if my carefulness was less impressive than Laura's endless string of chaotic adventures. That night, I pulled up my bank records and stared at the sharp dropped from a year ago. I had been so close, nearly $60,000 saved, enough for a solid down payment in my city. Now, thanks to Laura, I was back to square one, stuck renting a cramped apartment while my sister paraded around in a luxury SUV. But with my future my phone buzzed with a text from Mom. Laura just showed us her new car. Isn't it gorgeous? She said she got such an amazing deal. Of course she did. Laura always got amazing deals that somehow left her broke. I thought about replying, about telling Mom the truth about the unpaid loan. But I already knew how that conversation would go. She's going through a rough time, Mom would say. You know how hard things have been since the divorce. Laura's divorce had been 3 years ago, but it was still her universal excuse, her free pass. Never mind that her ex-husband had left her with a fully paid-off house and a generous settlement. Somehow, she'd managed to burn through all of it while still maintaining her lifestyle. I opened my email and pulled up Laura's desperate message from a year earlier. I promise I'll pay you back in 6 months. Tops. You're my only hope, Rachel. I could lose everything. Please. You've always been so good with money. I'll never forget this. Below that message was a trail of excuses, car repairs, property taxes, a leaky roof. Yet through all of it, she somehow found money for salon visits, weekend getaways, and now a brand new Mercedes. A new notification popped up, another email, this time from Laura, blasting photos of her car to the entire family. New beginnings. She'd written, sometimes you have to invest in yourself. Invest in yourself with my money that should have been invested in my future, my chance at owning a home. I closed my laptop, hands trembling with fury. This was no longer about the loan. This was about respect, about boundaries, about not being treated like a bank with no interest rate. The following day, I began gathering evidence. Every email, every text, every transfer. I documented it all. My training as a graphic designer came in handy. I created a detailed timeline of Laura's promises, excuses, and sudden. The pattern was almost comical, an urgent plea for help, followed by months of evasion, sprinkled with casual mentions of spa days or weekend trips. Even still had the napkin she'd scribbled on that day in my kitchen, a repayment plan. 6 months, tops, written in her looping handwriting with neat monthly amounts that she never once paid. At the time, I'd tucked it away, thinking maybe it would matter. Now, it was just another artifact in a file of broken promises. That evening, my phone buzzed again. A message from Laura? Hey sis, some friends are planning a spa weekend next month. You should come. We could set up a payment plan for your share. I stared at the screen, stunned. She was inviting me to spend money I didn't have on a spa getaway, while still sitting on $45,000 of mine. The audacity made my blood boil. Later, my cousin Jenny called. I saw Laura's new car on Instagram, she said cautiously. Isn't this the same sister who borrowed your house fund? The very same, I said flatly. Jenny's tone turned serious. Rachel, you can't just let this go. My husband's a lawyer. He keeps saying you should have gotten something in writing. But it's not too late to protect yourself now. Of course, she was right. I had trusted family instead of protecting myself. But that didn't mean I had to keep playing the fool. You know what's coming, though? Jenny warned. The family will say you're being harsh. They'll tell you to be more understanding. They always do. She's been going through a rough time since high school, I said bitterly. Meanwhile, I'm the one living in a one-bedroom apartment because my savings are parked in her driveway. After we hung up, I opened my laptop and began researching small claims court procedures. I found that the maximum claim in my state would cover nearly everything she owed me. I also discovered templates for formal demand letters, the first official step before legal action. With my hands trembling but resolute, I filled in her name. This was going to change everything. No more pretending at family dinners. No more playing the understanding sister. No more being the family's silent ATM. Laura had made her choice when she bought that Mercedes. Now, I was making mine. I mailed the demand letter by certified mail and kept the receipt neatly filed. 3 days later, Laura showed up unannounced, storming into my apartment and waving the letter like it was an insult carved in stone. Are you serious with this legal nonsense? She shrieked. I'm your sister. You can't sue your own sister. I kept my voice steady. You've had a year to handle this, like sisters. Now we're handling it like adults who made a financial agreement. Her voice cracked. I can't believe you'd be so cold. It's just money. Family matters more than that. She collapsed onto my couch, tears starting to fall. The same act that had always worked before. Yeah. Family is important, I replied calmly. Important enough that I drained my house fund to help you. Important enough that I trusted you to keep your word. How's that worked out so far? I've been struggling not too much to afford a brand new Mercedes. I cut in, or designer boots, or a European vacation. Her tears vanished in an instant, replaced by anger. You're just jealous. I know how to live life while you hoard pennies and obsess over spreadsheets. No, I said firmly. I'm angry because you exploited me. Because you promised something and broke that promise. Because you've been living off my sacrifice. Fine. She stood, clutching her purse. Take me to court. Let's see how Mom and Dad feel about that. As she slammed the door, my phone lit up with messages. Predictably, she'd already called our parents' mom. Why are you threatening your sister? She's family. Dad, let's talk about this calmly. No need for lawyers. I took a deep breath and typed a group reply. Laura borrowed $45,000 from me a year ago, promising repayment in 6 months. Yesterday, she bought a Mercedes instead of paying me back. I'm done being taken advantage of. She has 30 days to respond before I file in court. The responses came fast. Mom, she needed that car for work. Dad, maybe we can work out a payment plan. Laura, I can't believe you're dragging private family matters out in public. I laughed bitterly at that last one. Private matter. She'd plastered her new car all over social media, complete with hashtags, private or public, I replied. The money is still owed. You have 30 days. The silence that followed my words stretched heavy across the table. For once, Laura had no clever excuse ready, no quick deflection. She looked at me, and for the first time, I think she realized the truth that the well she had drawn from so freely had finally run dry. I never thought you'd cut me off, she whispered. That's the problem, I replied. You never thought. You just took. I stood, smoothing my blazer, my voice steady now. I won't chase you for repayment. Keep the car, keep the lies, keep the excuses, but you will never again get another cent from me. Not one. Mom and Dad started to protest, their voices rising with the usual chorus of sympathy for Laura, but I held up my hand. No, this isn't about punishment. It's about dignity. I won't keep sacrificing my future so Laura can live above her. Means, if you choose to keep rescuing her, that's your decision. But I'm done. Laura's eyes burned with a mix of shame and anger. For once, I didn't flinch. I gathered my things, pushed in my chair, and walked out, leaving there, stunned faces frozen behind me. The night air outside felt sharp, cleansing, like I'd finally opened a window in a house full of smoke. My phone buzzed a message from a realtor about an open house I'd been eyeing. I smiled. The dream wasn't gone. It had only been delayed, and this time I would build it without anyone siphoning away my foundation. Sometimes the hardest thing isn't saying yes to family. It's learning when to say no and meaning it. That night, for the first time in years, I felt light, free, and I knew one thing for certain. I would never again apologize for protecting my future.